Hi there, I'm Lucy McDonald. Welcome back to my virtual clinic. Today I'm going to be talking to you about the top ways that you can avoid injury and pain when running. But before I do, in case you want to get in touch for either a video consultation or a face-to-face consultation, please do email info@octopusclinic.com, or you can go to the website. If you go to www.octopusclinic.com, you can find all manner of exercise videos and advice that can help you with your running. We also have a Facebook group, so come and join us if you're not already on our runners Facebook group, and we also have a more generic Facebook page and all other social media channels. So if you're watching on YouTube, please press that subscribe key too. So what are the top ways of avoiding running injuries? Unfortunately, this is the time of year where I'm starting to get patients coming in with pain. They've just started their marathon training. So the London Marathon is in October. So people are just starting to get to grips with their running program. And these things, I'm sure if everyone followed these 3 tips, then my job would no longer need to exist. So the first and the most important is that you build up your running in small increments. Now that sounds terribly simple, but actually the most common cause of injury that I see is people ramping up their training too fast. So either increasing their mileage too much or their speed, or perhaps introducing something more intensive like hills. So if you are going to increase any of those things or any aspect of your running, it's super important that you only do it a little bit. What is a little bit, you say? Well, the conservative way of looking at it is a 10% increase per week. But obviously, most training plans involve a lot more than that, especially if you're going for something like a marathon, and that's fine. But just make sure that if you do start a training plan, that you don't start it halfway through, or if you have a gap for any reason, for example, illness, or you just lose motivation, or whatever the reason is, that you don't start off where you're supposed to be sort of that 2 weeks later. So make sure that when you go back onto a training plan, you start a little bit lower and then build back up again. Now that means, and this is my second tip, that means that you must not have a fixed idea of exactly how many miles you are going to do before your marathon. So if you say, for example, you have a figure in your mind, a common one is 20 miles. If you have this idea that you're going to run 20 miles before you start tapering off, and I will talk about tapering further down the line. If you think about it like that, you're going to have no flexibility in your program. So that number 1 tip is going to fly out of the window, because at some point over the next 4 months, something will happen where you're not able to exactly follow your training program. And this is the good news, is that 20 miles or whatever mileage it is that your mate says that it should be done in, or someone has told you that you have to do a certain number of mileage, that is not a thing. If you're running your first marathon, you're running it for perhaps a good cause, and you just want to get round and enjoy it, then there is no reason why you need to do a certain set mileage before running the marathon. It's a good idea to get as many long runs in as possible once a week, not more than that. But really, if you have a more fluid idea, so say for example you want to ideally get to 20 miles, but it's not the end of the world if you only make it to 16, that's going to be a much better way of planning your marathon, so that your marathon training, so that you're not going to get injured. Otherwise you're just going to keep pushing yourself too much too soon and end up with some kind of injury. Now, the third one is prioritizing your marathon training. So if you, for example, look at your marathon, I had a patient with this exact situation recently. She's looking at her marathon training program and thinking, oh my goodness, how am I going to fit in 4 running sessions a week and then 2 strength conditioning sessions? Now, the strength conditioning sessions are far more important than 1 or 2 of the runs. So yes, I think it's a good idea if you can do 3 runs a week. So I advised her to take off 1 of them. And then it meant that she had time to do 2 lots of strength conditioning. because the risk was that she was going to drop one of her strength conditioning sessions, or even worse, get up really early in the morning, shorten the amount of time that she was going to be sleeping, and get very stressed about it, and that has a negative effect on the body and increases the chance of injury too. So you want to really look at your training program and think to yourself, is it realistic for me to do 4 runs plus the strength and conditioning that we all know is so important? And make some realistic changes accordingly. So everyone's different. Just because your mate did the marathon and did a certain training program doesn't mean that that training program is right for you. You need to think about how you can look at how you can fit in your training into your life. Now, if you want some more one-to-one guidance on that, I'm very, very happy to see you for a video consultation, or by all means, one of my team. And likewise, there's going to be more on strength and conditioning. So if you want to have a look at my video on the best exercises for runners, in that I cover strength and conditioning, stretches and foam rolling, and also some movement patterning technique stuff. So if you want to learn more about strength and conditioning stuff, find out more ways of preventing injury, things like nutrition, cross training, etc., please do subscribe. I will be talking more about preventing injuries and of course treating injuries, so giving you tips on how you can help the healing process so that you can get better as quickly as possible. And so do join all the different social media outlets. I love to hear your opinion on what you would like me to do some videos on, so please let me know, and I hope you enjoy your running. Take care. Bye.